are platforms out there that are made specific. Now, there are platforms out there that are made specifically for certain types of people who are at certain points of their career and reach certain levels of success that may be comparable. But for anybody starting out, listen to the way my kids to me says, Dad, I want to start digital products online. What platform should I use? I would tell them all about. In fact, I think those of you who are listening to the other, my kids are one of the co-founders as well. I sat down with them and I said, how old do you think this guy is? How big do you think this company? All that kind of stuff. If you strip away all that kind of stuff, if you strip away all the different media, all the different things, all it is at the end of the day is putting content in front of people that can respond to it. That's all it is. Sounds kind of straightforward when you put it that way. Yeah, that's what success is. Success is straightforward. Okay? So anyway, joinmemon.com. Got the 2 extra bonuses available till the end of the day from yours truly, Jason Flavin. Maybe I'll wrap on the bonuses. How about that? Oh, crazy. I never lost my laugh. Okay. Drawback of not using WA. So you will pay for it if you use it somewhere else. You will pay money to use it, and you will pay a percentage, probably similar, if not more, somewhere else. I doubt it will have the features that are easy to set up and customize, and I don't think it will have the robustness of the marketplace either. So those are the drawbacks of not using WA. Now, there are platforms out there that are made specifically for certain types of people who are at certain points of their career and reach certain levels of success that may be comparable. But for anybody starting out, listen to the way my kids to me says, Dad, I want to start digital products online. What platform should I use? I would tell them all WA. In fact, I think those of you who are listening to the other, my kids are one of the co-founders as well. I sat down with them and I said, how old do you think this guy is? How big do you think this company is? So to inspire them, yeah. AI tools access during monetization, you get a full year's access to synthesis, and you get a full year's access. I'm tired. It's midnight almost. And a full year's access to Ghostwriter OS. Then you can renew it the same way if you wish to. Yeah. Thank you so much. My team, I love them. They just put a whole bunch of comments about me. They put it in the comments for Jason. Do you mind if I read this off so I can give myself a little pat on the back? It says, Mr. Jason is pretty good at teaching. This is absolutely cool. Jason, I never let you doing something that's bettering millions of lives. Thank you. We are loving your energy and vulnerability. What a beautiful person. Thank you, Jason. Nobody's going to forget this lesson ever. Thank you so much. Jason, you are really an amazing coach. Thank you. This man is dropping gold. I truly appreciate it. Jason, you're the man. Oh, thank you so much. And there's so many more. Oh, God bless all of you. You are wonderful. I always joke, because if you do this business enough, you will always get pushback, because people will come out in a variety of different ways, shapes, and sizes, with a variety of different values. And the joke I always say to people when they say, how do you deal with any pushback you get, Jason? I always say this Fetty Wap line. This is an old rapper, right? They call haters fans. It's like, people be hating, we just call them fans, though. I'm like, just call them all fans. If anybody's giving attention and talking about you, they're a fan. That's how I look at it. I have some genuine true fans here, and I appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right, a couple more questions, and I want to check back in with you here. Kanan says, I wonder how you sold those products without being on social media. I sold them predominantly through 3 avenues. Avenue number 1, affiliate marketing. So because I was very good at constructing offers, which you'll learn about in offer modality, I could create offers that would make more money than competitor offers could make. And so people that had audiences would promote my offers, and we would split the money. So joint venturing, affiliate marketing, that's my jam. And so that's one of the ways I got traffic. Another way is word of mouth. I get so many referrals. Iman came to me from a referral from another consulting client, who came to me through a referral from another consulting client. Every time I close one deal, it sets up 2 more deals. So you get a lot of referrals. It's amazing how easy it is to get referrals when you structure digital products correctly. So the second way is I got referrals. And the third way is content. Believe it or not, this is content. Now I'm doing it at a high level, partnering with Iman and being on a channel of 5.5 or 5.75 or whatever it is million subscribers at this point in time. That is exposure to me. That is content for me. I used to write and publish articles back in the day. The first sales I ever made were on forums. I would respond to people who asked questions, and I had a little form signature. So you could put a little bit of a tagline of who you were, what they call a bio box. And I said, hey, need help writing articles faster? Click here. And then I made a lot of sales that way, right? So those are the main ways in which I got referrals. And then I would get invited on podcasts, and I would get people hear me on podcasts. It's all content. Different forms of content, but it's all content from that perspective. I go speak at events and do things like that. But there are about 100,000 different ways you can get audiences. Marketplaces are good. That's why Etsy is so interesting. We would publish digital products on Amazon and get traffic that way as well. Sophia says, I have a question. If you should put out several digital products in a niche, you stick to one niche or explore other industries. I recommend that you explore multiple different niches. So don't put one product out in 20 niches, but don't put 20 products out in one niche yet. So you should put 3 or 5 products out amongst 3 to 5 different niches, and then sit back and see which one grabs, and then cancel the rest of them. Double down on the one niche that grabs and go deeper in it. And that's essentially what Anaya did. And every successful person I've ever known, with rare exception, that's what they did as well. How can I learn communication skills like you guys? The best way is to go through prosperity algorithm and offer modality. Everything that I do is rooted in communication. I'm always thinking about how do I reach somebody who needs help with something in a way that they can receive it. That's how I've always built. That's why I was thinking about communication. That's what I do for my clients privately, personally, and I do this for millionaires and multimillionaires. So I have to learn how to get through to them. It's a crazy world. I should make a movie about it one day. But that's you would well learn communication through my material that I developed on communication. One thing that I teach in prosperity algorithms is this concept called schemas. So let me give you a little framework. Let old Flatlin break it down in a framework for you. There are 3 things and only 3 things that you do with information when you receive it. You ready for them? You delete it, you distort it, or you generalize it. Or you generalize it. So some people, when they hear something, if they can't accept it, they just delete it. If it's outside of their schema, their ability to accept something is like you've never said it before. You're just not ready for it yet, so you will immediately delete it. So that's the first process that people do when they encounter information. The second one is they will distort it. So they will hear what you say, but they will change some of its meaning to conform with their own model of reality. And so they won't hear it for what it is, they will hear it through a filter. Sometimes they can distort it in a positive way, and sometimes they will distort it in a negative way. So, for example, somebody will distort the information, so we have all these resources for you, and they'll say, oh, you're charging money for them. If you really wanted to help me, you would give them away for free. I've seen a couple of you say that, right? And I never take offense to that, because I understand where it comes from. From your model of reality, as you see it, that makes sense to you. That's totally on track, right? But if you run that all the way through, and if you don't distort it with some sort of immediate reaction, you realize that in order for you to really create value, you have to invest resources into it. And if you do not have a return on those resources, you cannot make the thing as valuable as you wish it to be. You cannot give away an iPhone for free. It would be impossible. You could not develop that technology if somebody wasn't willing to in exchange for it. And now the more people that invest in it, the more affordable it can become, right? And that's just one of 1,000 examples that I can give you just on that one perspective of reality when it comes to, hey, why do we sell something to you, right? And then you generalize it. So that's the 3 things that you do with information. So the generalization, this is always a joke. The client comes to me and says, Jason, I've tried everything and nothing works. And you know what I say to them? I say, well, then what do you need me for? I can't help you. You already tried everything. And they're like, okay, cool. Okay. So and I say, if you tried everything, I don't need to know everything you tried. Just tell me the 57 things that you tried. We'll stop at 57. They go, okay, why? And I'm like, have you tried 57? No. You know what I find out typically when somebody tells me I tried everything? They tried 3 things. Everything means 3. Write that down. Everything means 3. So Jason, I tried everything to get somebody to find and buy my digital product. Okay, just name 27 of them. I don't remember them. That's generalization. All of us do it to some degree because we have this hardware called a human brain, which is incredibly fallible. And so we have to work around that if we want to get the best. So when we hear something, we have to say, am I generalizing this? Am I distorting this? Am I deleting this? The deleting one is difficult, right? And so I train you subconsciously, because if we're talking about this, it's more difficult for you to understand and master it. But if you just hang around with me and you pick up on my language patterns and you pick up on the frames that I use and the communication structures and the models, you will automatically begin to adopt them because they're useful to you, and then you will get more as a result of that. So we teach this in prosperity algorithm. You can see why this doesn't play well with the masses. You can see why I'm not internet famous and I stay in the shadows, because this is intense. This is a lot of stuff. I will show it to you because you've now seen it demonstrated in front of you inside a prosperity algorithm and even in offer modality, because at the heart of it, that's exactly what I do. This is also why I help you by giving you multiple perspectives at which you can look at the problem. Because the more way you can see something from more angles, more insights you can get from it, the more insights you can get from it, the more outcomes you can generate because of it. And that's what we're here. Was that good? Did you like that? This is just for free, right? Nobody paid for this. This is free stuff. You paid for it because you made the effort to show up and be present today, and you were rewarded for that. All right. Where can we get access to prosperity algorithm? We already purchased monetize. So here's what I got to do. Poor Max, I got to send them over access to that, and then you can distribute that to you. Please be paying with us. We will certainly get that to you. Are we getting it if we only are in monetized pro or general too? Any level of monetized with me, you get these bonuses. As long as you sign up before the end of the day. I saw that actually 2 days ago. You get this. You 100% get this. I always reward the early action takers. So all of you who signed up on day 1, you got everything. All of those who signed up on day 2, you got most of the things. All of those who signed up on day 3, you got some of the things. We're now on day 4. So anybody who's already signed up has gotten everything from that day and the previous days. And this is true for this. So your investment on day 1 has gotten better every single day. Yeah, pretty cool, huh? After all, after subscription, how long do I have access to all this 1 year for the software? Yeah, unlimited access for a year. You can sign up tomorrow or the day after. We are doing another session tomorrow. Iman has a new session that he's working on. He's going to drop some insights on mindset to you. That's tomorrow. I believe it's on mindset. I might be wrong now that I think of it, but you'll have to just tune in and find out. How's that for a retention tactic? That wasn't intentional, but Iman's training tomorrow, so we will extend the offer for sure to tomorrow. I want to say after that, maybe 4 days at most. I don't think it will be more available than 4 days after that at most, and it certainly could be less. That is not my call to make. I'm just going by the timelines of what the guys and I have planned for other stuff that we're doing. Yeah. So because Jasmine said I wish it was available to the end of this week. It's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It should be. Yeah. Comment. Okay. I'm obsessed with this. Working to monetize, not using synthesize. Shout out to you, Jill. Thank you for commenting that. Last concept says I'm in. Already subscribed to monetize. Hell yeah. The competition is for paid members only. Yes. So when you sign up for joining Mon, the 90-day competition when that starts in the near future, everybody starts at 0 and you sprint and you see who ends up on the leaderboard. Is WAP known much in Germany? I do not know if it is or not. Probably not. But I've keynoted. Believe it or not, I'm big in Germany for some reason. I've keynoted the largest digital marketing in Germany twice in Frankfurt a couple years ago, and a couple years prior to that, spoke in front of 50 or 5,000 Germans. By the way, they told me your humor will not go over well in Germany, and I said I think it will. And I get on stage, my humor did not go well over in Germany. There's a YouTube video of the whole presentation of the presentation that I did in Germany, and there's comments on it like, man, what's wrong with this audience? But yeah, I do me right. WAP will eventually be known in Germany and France and name every other country that you can think of where there's real commerce taking place. I have a client in Germany who has a company now that's worth about $140 million, and I haven't called him back. Note to self, reach out to Marcel, because yeah, I mean I got a lot of demand these days, but Germany's moving. So if you're in Germany or you want to market to Germans, WAP would be a fantastic thing to use. Do you have any people making money from Azerbaijan? I don't know. Probably don't. Did I pronounce that right? I only know Azerbaijan because of chess. I'm kind of a chess guy. I'm not good at it, but I like to watch it, and it's some really good chess. Believe it or not, comes out of Azerbaijan. But no, say it right. Can we get a copy of Jason's presentation? It will be on the YouTube channel for the next few days from Iman. Yep. How to get traffic without influencers? How to get traffic without influencers? Okay, I have never really gotten traffic directly from influencers. If I've gotten it, it's purely through word of mouth. So you don't need influencers in order to get traffic. In fact, I prefer not to deal with them. Now, a lot of people I know love dealing with them. I was just talking to a young gentleman the other day, 23-year-old kid named Connor. They scale up their digital product business to $300,000 a month, spending just $4,000 with influencers. They would reach out to influencers. They say, I pay you this much upfront, small amount of money. Once you hit these metrics on your video, then I will release this much money to you, and I will release up to $1,000 to you based upon you hitting these benchmarks. And so they would find these influencers, and you also have to mention my product at this point in time or sooner in the thing, and yada, yada, yada. And so they spent on 4 influencers $1,000 a piece, and they got so much traction. Their digital product was in a marketplace. And when that marketplace saw the velocity of sales coming in from their digital products, it shot it up to the top, and all these other users in the marketplace started buying it, and that's why they're up to $300,000 a month. So that's one of the ways you can work with influencers is just pay them. Just be cautious with that and start small and then scale. But just go to where people that would be a good fit for your product are and don't directly sell it to them. Take the information from that product that's synthesized and create for you, have Ghostwriter develop content to get attention from that product synthesized created for you, and then use that content to answer questions people have in the locations that they hang out in online. So some of that's Facebook groups, WhatsApp groups, believe it or not, those can be a gold mine too. And any place where there's content and there's communication occurring, all of those are huge opportunities for sure. Memberships for a year, yeah, and then you can renew if you wish to. If you don't make 10 times your investment back, then it's in perpetuity until you are successful. Yeah. What's the most valuable lesson that keeps showing up when creating digital products? I'll tell you. Oh, you want a story from Fladlin? You want to know about the time that we made $57.9 million in 226 days and set the record at the time for the biggest digital product launch of its kind? If you want to know that, drop story in the chat for me real quick. I want to tell you this one. This was a valuable one because I learned this lesson very, very late in my career. But once I learned it, I locked it in, and it's been the biggest secret to my success. Okay, good. Here it goes. Right? Here's how that product launch started. It started with these famous words that came out of my crazy little brain when I go to my audience. Because the best thing about a digital product business is once you get an audience, more money is made from existing customers than you'll ever make from new customers. So I work a small amount of customers and continue to serve them very long. Because once I have a customer and I've gotten a win for them, it's easy for them to want another win, and I can provide just another win. So I do a lot with little. So I go to my customer base of customers and I say to them, I'm not sure if this will work or not. That was the opening lines to this monumental campaign, which is still talked about today, many years later. I start the conversation now saying, I don't know if this will work or not. I said, I have this idea. It seems to be working for the few people who tried it out, but all of those people were successful already. So I don't know if it works for people who aren't already successful, but here's what I'd like to do. I would like to run a test. I would like to do a beta test on this new concept and take you on to see if we can validate it, to see if it works as good as I think it will work. Are you interested? And then I laid down some of the parameters and some of the rules. This is what I said to the audience. I said, I'm not exactly sure how we're going to teach this yet. It was a digital product. I don't know what the structure of it is going to be exactly. We may have to change some things along the way as we fulfill and deliver upon it. I don't even have a members area for it yet. We don't have a logo created for this product yet. We don't even have a name for it. We have a placeholder name for it. A generic name, which by the way ended up being an awesome name when we used it after that. I said, so we're looking to try it out with just a few people to see if it works. Now, why do you think I did that? So this was the culmination of different experiences that I had that led me to do this digital product launch. Why do you think that I did that? And this is the most valuable lesson that I can give you, a direct lesson. Here's what I've learned. I had the curse of success in my career, and be careful because it might happen to you. I had a series of successes, one after the other, that led me to think that I was invincible, that if Jason Fladlin did it, it would work. That if I just showed up and had an idea, then it would work. And so I would then start to create elaborate products, and we would make it look really smooth and really awesome, and we would invest all this time and effort and energy into the thing, and then it would look like $1 million, and it would be incredibly complicated, and it would take a large amount of time, effort, and energy to develop the thing. Because I thought everything that I touched turned to gold. And then I got humbled once, and I said, oops, but that was a fluke. And then I tried it again, and then I got humbled again. And I say, I don't know as much as I think I know. So I changed the rules of the game. I said, how do I test and validate ideas out with the least amount of time, effort, risk, and energy, and then only back and put the resources behind the ones that with the least amount of time and energy to be validated show the most promise? And so then we started doing campaigns like that. So I did a campaign like that, and it freaking crushed it. And I was like, nice, because I went from idea to testing it, where people paying me money immediately at the speed of light. Now, this is before AI. And so I did it for a product A, and that worked good. For product B, that worked good. For product C, that worked good. And I'm like, damn, we're cooking. We're making good money now, and we're never ever taking any risk. And if the feedback looks good, we double down on it. If it doesn't look good, we kill it. Or we just say, cool, you got it. You knew the name of the game. The expectation was set going in. It was a beta test. And then that fourth product, that's when we hit gold. That was the gusher. 57.9 million in 226 days. Because our initial beta group, it worked so incredibly good for them. We went back to everybody else and said, remember that thing we tested out on? These people got this result. It was insane. And we learned along the way, as we created this product, what we did right and what we didn't do right. And so then we launched the version 1 3 weeks after the beta. And we added some stuff to it. We dressed it up a little bit more, but not much more because the market didn't care anymore what it looked like. They saw how incredibly effective it was. And that's how we did that. And that got us to 57.9 million in 226 days. Lightning in a bottle. all the conditions arose. But if I would have spent 2 or 3 months or 4 months trying to develop the product, or if I would have made it overly complicated, I still would have been successful in that particular area, but not quite as successful. So my biggest lesson that I can tell to you is validate small. Start with simple tests where you can't lose and you can only win. And that is a big lesson. Now for you, it'll look a little bit different, but think about it. I gave you the same lesson earlier in the formal presentation. The first digital product that I created was 6 pages long and I sold it for $4. And then I got validation in the marketplace. People bought that product and were like, damn, this thing is good. They say, I bought this product and 20 minutes later, I'm already writing articles twice as fast as I was before the product. So they paid me $4 and in 20 minutes, they doubled their productivity. They got the best deal ever in their entire life. You know what every single customer wanted to do after that? Pay me more money for other things. So you want to start, and I talked about it earlier. She validated the product at $50 for something that they spent a single night developing, her and her husband. And then that turned into $1 million a month deal eventually, right? So even with AI, take the least of moving parts possible to validate an idea. Yeah, and I can show you what that looks like when you join when you go to joinemon.com, because I will teach you that in offer modality. And of course, we have the resources and everything else that goes alongside that in the monetize program. Yeah, good stuff, huh? See, mine's not joking, right? I'm not a flash guy. Like I appreciate it, but I live pretty simply. Truth be told, like in terms of like I don't have a lot of cars. I have a car. My wife has a Porsche. And I have a Tesla, right? Like so nice, but not too out there. Yeah, I post more pictures of my dog than I do of like jets or anything like that. So I like to contribute and live a quieter life. But this is kind of what this is behind the experience of all these years that I'm now investing in today with you. And hopefully it's landing and you're resonating with it. Joinemon.com so we can get going. Yeah, that's great. I'm loving that question. Thank you so much. Okay, I've been a lash tech trainer for 9 years. Interesting. A lash tech trainer for 9 years. I have a reformer studio as well. I'm a healing journey where I help others. What would you, with my story, turn into a digital product? I don't know if I would, because you have a solution looking for a problem. I would run it backwards. I would find problems already existing and create solutions specific for those problems. But I bet, given your experience, there are certain specific problems that people would pay you to solve, and that's where I would start. Now, what I'd highly recommend, Danny, is I would run it through the AI, synthesize AI, and see what it suggests to you based on your background. I bet you it will uncover some gold for you. My wife, by the way, before she has a really successful business now in the legal space, but before that, she had a successful business as a what do you call it, the eyebrow stuff. I'm a little tired. Like tattooing the eyebrows on. Oh my god, I can't believe I'm forgetting this right now. She's gonna kill me. But anyway, she would teach the skill. Maybe somebody can know what I'm talking about in the chat. The ladies would know. It's like where you like tattoo the eyebrows onto the eyes for women. If you take a beauty school or an esthetician and you teach her how to do this skill, microblading, that's what it was. I figured it out before somebody put it out there, right? And you teach them microblading, then they make a lot more money. my wife was one of the top microblading artists in the world, maybe the top microblading artist in the entire world. So she would go around and she would train and teach estheticians and beauty professionals how to add microblading into their business to make more money. If you can teach people how to make more money or save more money, you will always have a place in the digital product business. You will always be incredibly successful in that business. Yeah. Somebody say, what's your net worth? Nice try, buddy. Some things are better left understated than overstated. Not enough, right? Like I'm looking for more. But yeah, so that's what I would do. Is I would look at your expertise, but then I would utilize AI to uncover the problems and match your expertise to those problems. Should I set up taxes before I start? I would not necessarily be too concerned about those problems, which are problems tomorrow today. Obviously, do what you feel most comfortable with to create whatever structure you think makes most sense for you. I can only share my personal experience, and this is just for educational purposes. I started my first business, which was a music business in 2004, Flatland Productions, and all I did was walk across the street and open up a bank account. I was in the US, it calls it sole proprietorship. So I had no liability protection. I had nothing, but I had checks with Flatland Productions on the name of it. So at least I could track the expenses that I paid in my music business and then write them off on my taxes at the end of the year. So some people want to set up everything before they try anything. They generally have a hard time in this business. Now I have a friend that does tax formation pretty simply, but and a lot of people like that. So I think when it's time, you go and you find a professional that can help you sort it out, and it will be different for different people. You just got to determine when is that time, how important is that to you. I find it's better to have something worth protecting first instead of trying to protect something that doesn't exist. That is just my personal experience on this. WAP space for Spanish products, absolutely. Is access monetized for 1 year? Yep. Okay. WAP is separate. Like once you start selling there, you can sell it forever. Yep. How to negotiate with influence? I don't know what that means. It's an interesting concept though. I have 106,000 monthly viewers on Pinterest. Can I use this to the advantage? Maybe. Not all views are created equal, but you should do a test. You should reach out and see if anybody would respond. You say, hey, listen, if I created a product on this, would you like to know more information about it? We call that a feeler campaign. And then you can see what any response that you get. Pinterest is a great place to sell, by the way. If the economy was a gender, it would be female. Women directly or indirectly influence 80% of all consumer spend in the economy. And so Pinterest is predominantly women-centric commerce. Very rabid buyers on Pinterest. A lot of money to be made on Pinterest. So I would try it out for sure. Okay. Unfortunately, debit cards, and especially in certain areas, my wife is from Romania. It's so funny. She's like, Jason, I'm having people reach out to me who are in Romania saying, can you talk to your husband to see if I can pay? She's like, the debit card is the issue, especially in Romania. So there are alternative options. If you can't make any of them work, when you go to joinemon.com, then hit that WhatsApp at the bottom of the page, the WhatsApp support there, or email support@monetize.com. It's monetize with an S, the London spelling, the UK spelling of it. And maybe they can arrange alternatives, ways for you to sign up. Same thing with multiple cards as well. I'm going to check in with you in a second, everybody, but I want to go through the rest of these questions real quick. How can you manage all those people and concentrate on all problems? You do the best you can. At least that's what I do. You just do the best you can. How can you prevent people from stealing your digital products? Don't sell any of them. That's how you prevent people from stealing your digital products. It's like that old saying, if you never want to be criticized, do nothing, say nothing, be nothing, right? If you never want to have somebody get their hands on your digital product, never sell it ever. Piracy for digital products is a thing, but it's a very minor thing, and it only occurs after you have achieved a lot of success. And often, if you use the platforms that we recommend, it is even less of a thing. But most people prefer to pay for problems, pay to solve problems, and to try to find a way to steal them. So it is an issue, but it's so small of an issue. It is like the issue of if I go outside and cross the street, somebody might hit me with a car. So therefore, I should never go out and cross the street, right? It is such a minor thing that I would not be that concerned with it at all. Now, once you get bigger, it does become a bigger concern, and then there are services and there are people that you can pay to do protection on that 100%. At one point in time, if you're selling $1 million a month, then it makes sense to invest in some of those systems. But oftentimes, you're not that big of a deal yet. So people buy your products or they don't buy your products, and there's no in between. Does this session count as socials? Yeah, for me, this is my social media. Yep. Okay, I like this one. From Roland. Jason, please answer this question. This is how he typed it out. Will I actually make good money just from trafficking WAP, or do I advertise it? So here's my suggestion to you. Never rely only and solely on one channel. You should start with one channel and get some results from it, but you should diversify your channel reach. So you should get buyers from multiple different sources. And one source will outperform the other, so then you can spend more time on that one source. But you don't know what that is like until you try multiple sources. Even still, let me tell you this little thought. I got a little thought exercise for you. If you're walking down the street and you see a $100 bill on the ground, a $50 bill on the ground, a $20 bill on the ground, a $10 bill on the ground, a $5 bill on the ground, and a $1 bill on the ground, which one do you pick up? And then I'll tell you the bonus in the offer again, Hase, since you asked. Which one do you pick up? When you find 100, a 50, a 20, a 10, a 5, and a 1. Yeah, you pick all of them up. Bucko picks none of them up. Bucko leaves it for the rest of us. You pick all of them up, right? So just because one source produces, say, 50 and another produces 100, that doesn't mean you don't also use the sources that produce 20, 10, 5, and 1. It's a huge mistake. Really smart entrepreneurs make this mistake constantly. They say, Jason, this one channel's doing really good. These other 3 channels are doing okay. So I'm just going to kill these other 3 channels and focus on this one. And I'm like, please not. Do not. Now, if one takes resources away from the other, that's a different conversation. But oftentimes you have different sources that will perform at different rates. But this isn't a contest. We take all the money. We take it all. And we should always be adding sources because then there's a multiplicative effect. Here's where you really start making money. This is a little bit beyond your first 90 days. But if you want to win a monetized contest, you want to secretly win Monetize Mania, You ready for this? Clown's gonna give you a little bit of game on this, okay? If you want to win Monetize Mania, or at least stack the deck in your favor to have the best chance of winning Monetize Mania, you should be omnipresent. Meaning you should be on multiple different channels simultaneously. Let me tell you why. Not because you'll reach different individuals on different channels, although you will, 100%. It's because you'll reach the same person on multiple channels. And the first time they see you, whatever. They see you over here, they see you over there, then you see you over there, and like the third or fourth time they see you, they conclude this person must be a big deal. Not because you are. You may or may not be a big deal, I don't know. But because they see you everywhere, then they conclude you are a big deal, and then they buy from you. But it takes a couple different touches from a couple different platforms to really hit a huge home run. Now, I don't recommend you try 5 channels simultaneously all at once initially. But what I do recommend is you get a channel moving and running and operating, and then you add a second to it and a third to it. So not only will you get individual buyers from channel A, B, and C, where you would miss channel B and channel C if you're only on A, but you also get buyers who are on both channels A and B, or on both channels B and C, or on all channels A, B, and C. And if you only touch them on one of those channels, you would not get the sale. But if you touch them on 2 of the channels, you get some of the sales. And if you touch them on all 3 channels, you get all of the sales. And this is what you really want to do if you want to win Monetize Mania. You want to be there so you get individual buyers from each channel, and you get buyers because they see you on multiple different channels. Yeah. Pretty cool, huh? Now you gotta go kind of hard if you want to do that. Like you gotta be a little bit aggressive. You gotta push a little bit. You don't have to win the contest. And win or lose the contest is not gonna matter overall in your life. Like it really won't make a difference at the end of your life whether you want to win the Monetize Mania. But man, it's fun to have goals. They can bring the best out of you. And goals have deadlines and goals have stakes. So that's one of the ways to motivate you. Anybody can sprint for 90 days. Anybody can go hard for a short period of time. And most of the success is you go hard for a short period of time, and then you're regular for most of the time. Like I don't do these 4-hour-long sessions every day. I go hard for a short period of time with you, and then I take long periods of rest. 20% of your efforts get 80% of your results. So I put 80% of my time into those 20% of efforts. I put 100% of my time into 20% efforts to get 80% of results. And then I can take off more time than anybody else takes off. Because in the few weeks that I work, I made more for the rest of the year than people who just work the rest of the year regularly. So it's good to have focused sprints and then ease off for long periods of time and focus sprints again. Because what you do is you create momentum in different directions, and then it kind of takes off and has a mind of its own. Just something from my experience in this business. But yeah, you don't need social media at all. Okay. If you've signed up for Monetize and for whatever reason you don't get access to it or whatever, reach out to support@monetize.com and they can take care of you for sure. One of the difficulties of me working with YouTube Live, by the way, when I do these for clients, they're much lower scale. Like we don't usually have 3,082 people on right now. Most of the events I work with have hundreds of people, 200, 300 people. Now they're usually $100,000 a year or $1 million a year businesses are up, right? So we get a lot with little. But we work on it and we can have like 6 support agents in, and we use like Zoom and other platforms, and we have it. We can feedback. We just can't do this on YouTube Live. But YouTube Live does something no other platform can do is it can take on so many people at scale. So just hit up support@monetize.com if you signed up for whatever reason you didn't get to the final page. It happens. Not very often, but it happens. Okay. If you have trouble signing up, but you attempted to sign up tonight, and then it goes through after we sign off today, you will still get my bonuses. Yeah, because we can track that. But you have to show that you signed up before the end of the session. Here today, my bonuses. Join.com. There's no information about my bonuses. These are presentation-only bonuses. Oh yeah, thank you. I was kind of running through again. Okay. Let me do this. Let me just run through the whole offer very quickly. I don't know if you noticed this, but when I present, like I cut a lot of the offer slides down, and I ran through it pretty fast today already as it is. Because what I really know is you know what the offer is high level. You know how valuable it is. You know everything that's involved in it. And what really is the difference makers having these conversations and really seeing if it fits right with you. So you get Monetize itself, which is the training process that shows you the 4-step system. So you can create a product, launch a product, monetize the product, and scale the product. And then you can repeat that. So that's the core is that training. Then you get Synthesize AI 3.0, which is a major upgrade over the previous version. It's awesome. This will create your digital products for you. Then you get Ghostwriter OS, and this will allow you to create the content that will attract the people to your digital products, and that will convert those people for your digital products. You get the perfect product insurance policy, and that is if you don't 10x your investment, then after 60 days, if it's not a 10x investment, all the resources in the team will still be there for you to support you forever in perpetuity until you hit that 10x investment. You get 7 coaching sessions per week for the next 52 weeks, and that coaching is unbelievable. If you listen to the success stories I interviewed this week, every single one of them reference how valuable that coaching is. You get the digital product formula, which is Iman himself specifically applying the 4-step process, recorded over his shoulder as he develops digital products with it. You get the ability to get into Monetize Mania, which is a contest that will start in the near future. It's a 90-day sprint with $350,000 worth of prizes, and if you're one of the top 10 sellers in Monetize, then you win a prize. If you're number one, you win one of these bad boys. Oh god, I love this one. Protect for lip. Not this model. This one's a little bit higher end, but you win. It's like a $40,000 Protect watch. Then 2 through 4, I believe it is. You win Rolexes, and then the rest of you in the bottom 5 would win Cartier watches. I think somewhere around there, might be 1 or 2 off. Those watches are awesome, and you all win a ticket. To Quantum Mastermind, which is a $25,000 a year mastermind. You come to Dubai and be in that room. You want to be in that room. So that is the core offer there with the bonuses, and then my 2 extra special bonuses. Prosperity algorithm. This is the 18 years of the strategic thinking that I do to create prosperity in my life. And I call it prosperity and not wealth because I want to be more clear. So prosperity to me means a wealth of wealth. Ooh, that's good, isn't it? I should have led with that. A wealth of wealth. So prosperity means financially prosperous. It means relationship prosperous. It means health prosperous. It means spiritually prosperous. So what are the inputs in that algorithm to unlock prosperity in all of those areas? And I have a training program that I designed for my high-level peeps on my specific approach to unlocking prosperity, the algorithm I use. So I sat down one day, here's the origin story of this. And I said, what is every factor that I can possibly, this is how I crack every algorithm, by the way. All right, so pull up a chair. Let me take a drink.
आधा अभी भी जगी हुई है, कहानी सुन रही है। अभी भी मैं उधर से एक बार देख के आया, अभी भी बक बक किए जा रहे हैं दोनों। 2 बज रहे हैं, कहानी सुन रही है। 1 घंटे से कहानी सुन रही है, दोनों एकदम जगे हुए।
I'm going to tell you how to systematically I cracked every algorithm that I went against. I wish I liked social media because I would crack that algorithm in a minute if I was so inclined. This is how I crack down every algorithm. This is how we crack Amazon as an algorithm.
कहाँ जा रहे हो? उफ, उठ के अभी एक बार उसको झाड़ के आना। मैं अभी झाड़ के ही आया 5 मिनट पहले। क्या हालत है, इस रात तक कहानी सुनी जा रही है। और दीदा भी एक इतना बड़ा कहानी थी, मुझे इतना छोटा छोटा दरवाजा ठंडा निकल जा रहा है।
which is an algorithm I liked because damn, there's a lot of money on Amazon. So anyway, you start with saying, let's identify every single factor, big or small, that can contribute to the output. So what is every single input that if we tried it would have some sort of effect on the result? And then you list them all down, every single one, big or small. Just list them all down. So on Amazon, here are the factors involved in it, right? And then you would go through them. You're like, okay, so velocity, that is actually one of the biggest factors. That price is not a factor on Amazon. You would think it is, but you would list it and you would realize the price of the product has very little to do with how Amazon ranks it. And you would find how somebody buys it, depending on the path they take to buy it, would have a large effect determining on how Amazon ranks the price. So you would list all these factors. I'm just distilling it down on Amazon, what you find at the end of the day. So with prosperity, I identified 63 different inputs that could influence prosperity. And then I went and I sorted and I organized them and I validated them based on what I thought were the most important versus the least important, because this is a principle in every single activity you ever do. A few of the inputs give you a majority of the results. So a few people make most of the money. A few buyers buy most of the stuff. A few drivers create most of the accidents. Yeah, it's so on and so forth, right? A few principles influence most of the success in any endeavor. So if you look at that and you start to analyze the 63 factors of prosperity, I identified the top 10. I also found you can combine some of the factors together. Some of them are redundant. They were pretty much saying the same thing. And then I drilled it down to 10 primary factors that have a major influence on prosperity. And then I did a training session on all 10 of those factors. So we deep dive on all 10 of those factors. So all you got to do is track 10 different things to massively influence the prosperity in your life. An abundance of abundances. And so you get a training on all 10 of those factors. And I thought very deeply on each one of those before I put that training together. Yeah. So you get that. And then you also get offer modality. So prosperity algorithm is very how you think, and offer modality is the exact opposite. It's 100% procedural. You say, if I'm going to construct the most compelling offer for anything that I can sell online, what are the things that influence this the most? What are the deliverables, and how do I position those deliverables? How do I manage price? How do I introduce bonuses? How do I reduce risk? How do I create urgency, et cetera, et cetera? And I went through 18 years of my career. Every offer that I was a part of, every success that I had, every record that I broke, everything that was a winner, and I've had so many different winners in this business. And I isolated every aspect and component of every one of those offers. And I built models around them for strategies on each and every effective thing that I did to be successful selling over $250 million a month, digital products, mostly digital products. Yeah. And now you get the result of that. But I don't just give it to you. I'm going to walk you through the training live in the future. So we got to schedule the time. We don't have a time scheduled yet, but we will. And then we'll contact you and we'll get you an invitation. I'll do it privately on Zoom. We can interact just like we're interacting here, only easier because we'll be on Zoom, so we can manage the chat much better. And I'll give you that document. I will give you the recording of that training as well, and that's offer modality. So one is very strategic, straightforward, step-by-step of how to make the best offers possible for what you sell for your digital products, and the other one is the thinking involved to make you as successful as possible. So I gave you a little bit of each. Isn't that cool? The catch with those are they're only available until the end of the session here tonight, and you can find them at joiniman.com. I just realized I'm like, it's 12:41 a.m. I'm like, I know it's late, but I feel a little bit tireder than normal when I would hit 12:41 previous days. And then I remembered I did a whole formal training session today. I'm like, that is why. Okay, I got an important question for you. Who here is seriously consider investing? You haven't invested yet, but it is a serious consideration. You're leaning towards it, and you're seriously thinking, yes, I might invest in this. If you are thinking that, put yes into the chat for me right now, so I can kind of get a gauge of how many people, because this is fun and I like training and I like doing this, but I want to really know if there's some serious intent or not. It doesn't have to be a yes, I absolutely will. It's just I'm leaning in that direction and I'm seriously considering it. Okay, so we have a lot of people. Okay, now I'm going to validate that because it's easy to say yes or it's easy to say me. If you are, and my team, my copy cubs, pay very close attention because I want you to watch the chat and clip these for me so I can answer them. If you are seriously consider investing, what do you need to know more than anything that would help you make the yes decision or the no decision? What is the most important factor that would help you determine if your serious consideration would become a hard 100% yes? Now type that into the chat. And if you need a minute to type it, because it's, you got to write it out, then take a minute to type it. And my team is going to watch like a hawk. Hopefully, I'm assuming they are. Let me pull up the doc because I can see him in the doc. Okay, I see. Izzy's the only one logged in. The other two, I got an anonymous fox and an anonymous panda. So I have 3 of my cubs in there right now, I think. And I'm going to watch it like a hawk. But tell me, what is the thing that you need to hear that would turn a serious consideration either into a hard yes, I'm 100% in, or into a hard no, okay, I got the clarity and know that right now this doesn't make sense for me to invest in. Put that into the chat right now. And then we can look at it together. And then we can determine if it makes sense for you. Oh man, I love my guys so much. They already put in a serious consideration questions header in the doc right here. You know, here's a fact about this business, and this is why I like faceless digital products, because they're a little bit different. We're selling face. Look at this face. We're selling facing digital products, and we're selling expert facing digital products. And so it's easy for you to conclude that it all happens because of one person that makes it all occur. But that is the worst way to do it. It's always better to be in groups. It's always better to be in communities. It's always great to have help. And at first, you don't have to pay for it. You can partner with other people. You could say, I'll help you. In exchange, you help me. You can join communities for your paid. You got to be careful of joining the wrong communities, but the right communities can be incredibly helpful. But eventually, when you start cooking, you will collect really cool people in your life. And then if you're like me, they see only me or they see only Iman, but there's a whole team behind us that are just incredible, that help to serve you and help to serve me. All the slides that you saw me do today, I did maybe 1% of the development of those slides. Iman's team built all of the slides for me. I wrote the script, and then they put them into slides, and then we adjusted them and refined them. You go further together. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. But cool, we got some serious consideration questions already in here. And keep typing them. We'll watch them, all right? So I want to go longer, but I am dealing with an issue, and the issue is I'm pretty tired, but I'm going to power through for a little bit more. I got a session tomorrow as well. I mean, I'm going to come back in tomorrow. Iman's going to run this shit. Karen says the support from the team will surely be available. That is a valid question. So there are two types of support that you're going to see. You're seeing the support pre-program starting, and then you will see the support after we close the card on this thing, shut the offer down, and not open it again for the rest of the year, okay? The support on the inside for customers, it's a different kind of experience. And then once we're done with this mega launch here, which went out to like 1 million+ people, then support resources are freed up entirely to devote to existing and new monetized members. And then you have levels and layers of support. So that's one area that I'm extremely confident that you will be taken care of, is on the support side, 100%. I've seen the support. Now, again, this is not a fair comparison. The support is around the clock to help, assist people with enrolling and signing up. And there's all sorts of people all over the world. And this is pre-fulfillment support, which is different than post-fulfillment support. So hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, I am 100% solid and confident about the support behind this. Now, does that mean that support won't make mistakes? Support always makes mistakes. Does that mean that sometimes something will fall through the crack and you have to ask again? Of course it does. But the resource is there, and it's valuable, and it's really good. One of the things that we do, one of the ways that I treat myself, I invest more in experiences than things. And my wife and I, we really like to go, and we like to do these mini vacations at really nice places. So last year when we were living in France, before we moved back to LA, we were living in the south of France, and one day we drove up to Portofino. And if you ever have a chance to go. And we went in the off season, and we went when the Belmont opened up the very first week. And there's this beautiful Belmont, and you could see the water right outside of it. And we got the balcony view, and this was amazing. Just an incredible experience. And, they messed a couple things up. They didn't get everything right. What frustrated me is because we drove from Cannes over there to Portofino. It's like a 3-hour drive. And we had a Tesla over there. Again, don't tell Iman. We rented a Tesla. We had a Tesla the whole time that we lived over there. So we drive over there. We get to Portofino. They have 2 chargers in the whole town of Portofino. 2 chargers. And they're not fast chargers. They're regular chargers. And the hotel gets access to one. And they told us they would put it on the charger for us, and they didn't. And it was frustrating. But, and this is like a $2,000 a night kind of a deal. But you know what else they had? When we first got there, there's this little famous ice cream place near the Belmont there. And my wife says when they came up to us with some water and some champagne, and they said, as we get your stuff ready, they're feeding us like little things. They said, my wife says, man, we'd like some ice cream. They said, we will go get it for you, even though there's a line. And then she says, my husband really likes pistachio ice cream. And it wasn't on the menu. And they go, okay, well, what else would he like? And so we told him something else. He comes back. He had them make pistachio ice cream for me privately. So we didn't have to stand in the line. They went and they got it for us. They brought it back and they made me something special. So we tolerated the issue of the Tesla and a couple of other little things that slipped through the cracks because overall the experience was incredible, and not on the small little things that can and will go wrong, that always go wrong no matter what organization you're in. And so that is what I'm confident in, is that we have the resources and 100% to take care of you and support you. And just look at the people we brought on who've been part of this before and how excited and happy they are. It was a great question. Thank you for asking it. And it was funny because Deepa asked the same question. Spread says, now, by the way, if that resonates with you and that was enough, let me know if that was good enough for you to go to joiniman.com and sign up. Spread Dark, great name. Spread Dark. Let's spread darkness on the areas of our life that no longer serve us. Ask how to scale. Okay, that's your big question. I'm going to push back on you a little bit gently because I want to get more clarity on that. What does scale look like for you? What would it be? What would you consider a success? If I did X, then that would be scale for me. Let me know, Spread Dark, and then I'll have my team look for it and put it back in here. Mr. Fallon 21 says, know that I will earn profit. All right. How much profit? If I gave you $5 out of my own pocket and said, here's your profit, then would you sign up for joiniman.com? I'm being facetious, of course. So we need more clarity. And this is what we're finding in most of these instances. How much profit would be enough profit for you to feel comfortable with so you can move forward and go to joiniman.com? By the way, I'm teaching you how to work through and untangle things that are getting you stuck right now. So independent of you signing up or not, this is useful for you to see how I'm modeling this for you right now. Because we got to determine what earned profit means specifically, and then we would just develop a plan, and then we would measure the probability of which we would think that we could achieve that plan with. Indaya says, I got the how to create, just not how to monetize. Really. Fair enough. Thank you for sharing that. Okay. Let me run it a different way. Okay. So there are three things and three things only in this digital product business that you need in order to make money. You need a product. That's your digital product. That's your asset. You need a page that explains the benefits of your product, so somebody who's a right fit will purchase it. So that's the second thing. So you need a product. You need a page, and then you need an audience. You need to have an audience visit that page and have some people within that audience respond positively to that page and say yes and pay you for your digital product. Those are the only three things you need. So the monetization side of the things is the page itself, and then the content or the strategy that brings people to the page. That's it. Okay. So Ghostwriter OS is the most effective way to A, create that conversion page, and then B, create the content that will get attention to bring it there. And there are other strategies that you can do for monetization. Okay. So you can create content yourself to attract a new audience to your offer, or you can find people that already have an audience and work with them to have them send their audience to your offer. Those are the two main free ways that you can do it. You can pay for advertising, but I don't recommend you start there unless you already have experience, right? So there's two ways you get it. You either attract an audience to you that's new, or you tap into somebody else's existing audience. There's a third option, actually, which I'm leaving out, but I bet you would have this and not realize you do. It is called the warm audience. So Anaya earlier had a warm audience. She knew a few friends. She knew a few people that she had connections with. And they were part of the original people that paid her $800 in total for her first digital product. So a lot of you actually have people you can already reach, but you just discount them. See, I don't really talk about this point too much because people will resist it. Remember the 3 ways in which people deal with information: they delete it, they distort it, or they generalize it. People will delete this information usually, or they will distort it. Many of you already have an audience that would pay you money already. Yeah, you already do. You already have some sort of presence online, even if it's a small one, and you already have people that you interact with that have problems that you could connect products to. You already have that, okay? I don't really emphasize that point because most of you will not accept that. So I don't try to sell you on a concept that you just can't accept. So I go and pick the lock another way to unlock the limitation that's holding you back. But that's also true. It's more true than you would believe. But if that makes sense, let me know. And if we need to clarify a little bit more, I can, because I can get into the weeds too. But fundamentally, I say, where are people already at? Where are they already spending money? And how can I get some of those people to spend it with me instead? That's the answer. I'll talk about Etsy as a bonus to my offer modality training. That was just a spur of the moment thing. Etsy is an example of a marketplace that is undervalued when it comes to digital products. Every social media channel is useful. Every single one of them. AI right now, believe it or not, general AI is making recommendations to people's digital products and skipping Google completely. And there's strategies that you can do to get into that as well. And we don't teach those in Monetize. And I haven't figured those out completely yet, but I've been having happy accidents occur. Yeah. Okay. Dark Spread responded, I mean, expand my number of sales. Bro, you got to give me a little bit more effort. I love you, man, but you're not helping. Expand my number of sales. Expand it by how much? What number of sales do you have right now, and how much should we expand it by? All right. I'm going to tell you a quick story. I'll try to tell you a story quickly that I think is very illustrative of the point. My business partner, Wilson, he's been my business partner for 15 years. And when we used to be in the Amazon space, we would have people come to us on Amazon, and we would do calls with them after they bought the Amazon digital product because we had this guarantee. We're like, if you don't make this amount of sales, then we will work with you till you do. It's very similar to joiniman.com, the guarantee there. And Will would get on the phone with these customers, and he would say, well, what's your goal? How much product do you want to sell? And they say, I would like to sell $25,000 of this product. And he goes, okay, what does the product retail for right now? And for sake of math, I'm just going to make it easy. They say, he goes, what does it cost you to fulfill on that product? And they would say like $10. And he goes, okay, so in order for you to make $25,000, you would have to sell 2,500 products to net profit per product, $10 a product. And they're like, yeah, I got it. He goes, okay, so what's your upfront cost to acquire $2,500 or 205,000 units worth of inventory? And then they would tell him, well, per piece of inventory up front cost me this amount of money. Usually, let's say in this case, $20. And he goes, okay, cool. Do you have $50,000 lying around to invest in inventory to make, sell $75,000 worth of product to net profit $25,000 in your pocket in the next 90 days? And they would be like, I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, you got to run it all the way through. Then it becomes easy and manageable. And so what Will would do, because he was really good at this, he would say, can I suggest to you a different goal? And they would say yes, because now they ran it all the way through. And they say, okay. So a lot of your challenge with moving forward, and I'm not just talking about with investing at joiningmon.com, just in general, is your targets are too fuzzy. I can't hit a fuzzy target. I need clear targets, and I like small, realistic, very extremely realistic targets. Okay? I'm going to ask you a piece of trivia right now, and we'll see if anybody gets it. Okay? Earlier, I mentioned this very briefly in my presentation. I'm thinking if somebody gets this, I would like to give them some sort of prize for free, but I don't want to get crazy with it. I will give somebody for free prosperity algorithm if they get this answer. Whether you invested or not. And if you invested, then something else for free. Those who were able to sell one product and only one product in the last monetized 2.0, what was their average total amount of revenue if they could just sell one product? I want the exact precise number. I mentioned it. I did not make a big deal out of it, but it's a fact. Not 163K. Nope. Not 64K. Not 60K. 60K is close, though. That's a hint for you. 60K is very, very close. 64,003 is not quite right, but you're hot. You're almost there. Okay. Hey, Borth. Good to see you. Hey, good to see you. We're gonna watch the game, the UCLA Iowa game. Nobody's got it, I don't think. Okay, CS2 Enjoyer, I'm gonna give it to you. Team, just check the chat real quick. The answer is 60,003. Vinny got it. He got it. $60,003. Okay? $60,003. Anybody else who got it after that does not get any prize. Sorry. Benny, if you did, if you signed up, then just let us know. If you signed up at joiningmon.com and you're already a customer, then it's easy for me. I'll be able to get you a prize, one of my courses. If you haven't, then you just hit me up. Find me on the internet. I can be found. You look, and then I can give that to you. But you gotta reference the fact, and you gotta let me know that it was you that said that. Okay. Yeah, $60,003 on average. That's how you know it's not made up, by the way, because it's such a weird number. If they could just get one. If they could just get one product sell. So the difference is 0 to 60,003. Okay. I didn't use that number, even though it's true, because truth is sometimes stranger than fiction. I knew it would be hard for most people to accept if I came out there and utilized that number. So I didn't really bring it up that much, but that's the fact. And so what we do is we make a target so fucking small that we can hit that. One. I just want you to sell one. Because now we go from 0 to 1. Now we go from nothing to something. Now we go from no momentum to some momentum. I'm a huge fan of the laws of motion. I'm a huge fan of physics. And there are 3 things in physics that are true in the laws of motion. An object at rest stays at rest. So if you're not making sales right now, it's incredibly difficult to get you to make a single sale because you're at rest. An object in motion stays in motion. So once you start to make a sale, then it becomes very easy. It becomes harder to stop making sales than to continue to make sales. That is acting upon you right now to take you from rest into motion. Once you get in motion, some significant force has to be acted upon you to take you out of motion. So I would say to you then that I wouldn't be too worried about expanding my number of sales if I'm not making sales. Now, if you're making sales and you're hitting a limit, that's a different story. I have a variety of different things that I could work with to try to unlimit you to go through the next level, because there's always levels, by the way. Okay, you know, there's always levels. Here's another story. Some of you are going to get sick of me talking about my wife all the time, but hey, you know, I love her, so what can you do? Last time my wife and I were in Dubai, Iman is so cool. Like, he arranges a driver to take care of us and take us anywhere we need to go. This guy is as classy as class can get. Was one of one of my favorite reasons that I like to work with them. I have many reasons that I like to work with them, and that's at the top of the list too. With the rest, I mean, there's a lot at the top, but anyway, so I was working over here. My wife was at the Burj Khalifa because she had some people from her company that she was meeting over there. And then Iman sends the driver over there to pick her up, and the driver pulls up, and it's a nice car. And he goes, I'm in this car. And she goes, cool, one problem. There's 7 of these exact same cars parked out front. And these are like pretty nice cars. And I laughed with her later on it. I'm like, in what world does it make sense other than Dubai that there would be 7 cars like this? I've never seen 7 cars like that in my entire life before. And then there are 7 that are waiting outside of the Burj Khalifa, right? So there's levels to this. Like you can always go up a level, and there's always a limitation at each level that prevents you from going to the next level. So there's levels to it. So if you're hitting a limit and you want to go to the next limit, I can help you with that. But right now, the first limit is going from 0 to 1 for most of you. And that's why we put the contests in place. That's why we have the resources in place. That's why we have the coaching in place. That's our holistically degrees trying to provide every single resource and asset to you that we possibly can to help you with this. I already reached a roadblock after joining 2 days ago. Devin, you're killing me. What should I do? Well, what do I need to do? What are the 3 things that you attempted to do, and 3 things, did any of them have merit? Does it make sense to make an adjustment on what you already tried to do, or should you try new things instead? Okay. Who did you reach out to, or have you reached out to anyone yet that could help you with this? Is it okay to wait? Sometimes roadblocks remove themselves if we wait, and then the coaching will kick in pretty soon, and can we use the coaching, right? Let me remind you of a thinking strategy that has served me very well in my life. I've talked about it before. There are 2 ways you can deal with anything. There's the frame. There's 2 frames that you can take on with anything that you encounter. You can take on a problem frame, or you can take on a solution frame. That's it. Every single thing you encounter, you can look at it from 2 lenses. So, one lens is I can't get an audience to find my digital product. That's a problem frame. A solution frame would be who is getting people to find, to get buyers that I can model. A different solution frame is where are the people that need this hanging out, and how do I walk amongst them? A problem frame is I procrastinate and I have trouble taking action. A solution frame says, what areas do I have no problem taking action in? And how can I bring some of that into this situation? These are just examples. I could rattle off 1,000 more, right? This is a muscle that you condition. When I encounter something, am I in a problem frame or am I in a solution frame? And if I'm in a problem frame, then let me try on a solution frame. And then once I'm in a solution frame, let me explore various different types of solutions within that frame. And sometimes you need help, right? And that's why coaching is so effective on this. But for you right now, just enjoy and bask in the glow of making a good decision for investing. And just let it work itself for a little bit. And then when the resources all become available, this probably becomes moot. The worst thing you can do is solve a problem that doesn't even need solved in the first place. Problems can just exist. We don't have to solve them. I need to convince my parents. Yeah. So I take a lot of shit from the outsiders in the peanut gallery when they say, oh, Flatland's telling kids to spend their parents' money on it. It's such an overly out of context position that some people take. Fans, we call them all fans. We don't call them haters. We call them all fans, right? I will suggest to you a strategy of communication that will be useful to you beyond whether or not you are going to try to convince your parents or not to help you with this investment, right? But let's just take the scenario, okay? If you need help from somebody, you can come to them and you can determine what their values are. So like in this particular scenario, you would have to know, what do your parents want from you and what would make them happy if you were to show up with it? What values that they have that you can align with so you can give them what they want while you get what you want. And this works for parents, this works for partners, this works for friends, this works for acquaintances, this works for strangers, right? If I want to be able to connect with you, I first have to understand what you need and how I can show up. And then I have to check, is it something that I'm okay with? And is it within my means? And does this make sense? And then there's a variety of ways you can have that talk. But some of the ways that is really simple. You could say to them, listen, I want to invest in myself to better myself. I believe that this is an opportunity for me to do just that. Here's what I'm willing to do to prove to you that I would be a good investment for you to invest in. Here's what and if I screw this up, here's how I will pay for it. Here's how I will pay you back. I'll tell you how we do it with kids, okay? And then some fucking idiot is going to clip this and then say that I'm telling kids how to get their parents to buy, make money online programs. But whatever, right? I do this with my kids. I will give my kids any amount of money if they can convince me that it's a good investment. The answer is never no. The answer is always yes, when, or yes, if, right? And that's it. So we pay our kids $25 for every book that they read. So if my child came to me and wanted to buy a $2,000 digital product program, I said, well, what would you be willing to do for me in order for me to pay for this program for you? I mean, this is what we do, okay? And I said, okay, we pay you $25 per book that you read. How many books would that be? That's 10 bucks. 10 bucks is $250, right? So that's $1. What else could you do? There's other things that you could do as well. And then I would sit down with them and I would make a deal and we would create a contract. And then we would both sign that contract. This is what we do with our kids. This is how rich people raise their kids, by the way, for the most part. It is a tragedy that a lot of parents don't do what I'm talking about right here. When we flew back from France, this is so fun. I wrote up a little writing on this. My clients love this. My kids wanted to fly, business class back. This is a 9-hour flight from Europe. And I said, sure, no problem. I'll buy you a business class ticket. How much do you think it cost? And then they told me what they thought it was. It was not that. It was more than they thought. And I said, I'm still willing to buy you this ticket. Let's work a deal out. What would you be willing to do in order for me to buy this ticket for you? Sell me on it and show me why this makes sense, and I will totally buy you this ticket. And then we explored ideas. The kids determined that they didn't want to do the work to get the ticket. They flew economy and I flew first class. And they were okay with it. Nobody threw a fit. Nobody got upset. There was no argument on it. I gave them the options, and then they chose the option that they felt suited them the best. And when I was telling this, because a lot of my rich friends, they have a lot of problem with entitlement, and they have a lot of problems with, feeling guilty over that kind of stuff and creating issues. And it's a challenge, right? It's a first world problem, of course. But this is the concept behind it. It's a solution frame. And so go to somebody who you would need help with to make this investment. And you could say, I really want to do this. I understand that I'm asking a lot from you and that this feels like a risk on your part. But I would love to explore a way in which maybe we can find a way where you can back me in this and then I can do this for you in return. And this is a skill set that I would love for you to learn regardless of whether you invest with us at joiniman.com. Yeah. Yeah. I used to not do that with the kids. I tried a different way. My wife really helped me out with that because I did create some entitlement. And you learn. You do the best you can. And then you reflect on it and then you get better. And that was a complete game changer, Now, it's a whole different world depending on where you're at in the world. I was extremely poor growing up. And so we would eat at McDonald's because that was really cheap junk fast food. And I ate a lot of that growing up. My wife grew up in Romania. She was born shortly after communism fell over there. So they had to save up 2 months to go to McDonald's. So you value things differently depending on what you had to do to acquire them. The fruit is sweeter the higher up the tree you climb to pick it. And so when you communicate with anybody to help get you what you want, in this case to invest, you just have to say, this is what I'm willing to do for you, and this is the penalty if I don't follow through on my word. And then if
If they're reasonable, great. Not everybody's reasonable, but it's worth the effort. Not for what they'll say to you, but what you will experience and how you'll grow as an individual when you have that conversation. Yeah. I think we got to wrap here pretty soon. I'm running on fumes. Okay, I got a couple more questions. God, there's so many good questions. God, I appreciate you so much. I'm going to run through these a little bit faster. I tend to get into the weeds too much. That's not a flaw, but it's just given the final limit that we have on our time here, and I'm just getting really tired. But I'm going to answer these last questions here very quickly, and we'll wrap up. Juan says, I'm waiting for, my partner. Yep, that's fine. Just wait. And then when you have the funds, sign up for it. We'll be here for a couple more days with the card open. Obviously, you don't get the bonuses, but hey, still worth it. Mary Alice says, if I have a couple ideas for digital content, how do I take them from my head and put them into action? You run them through synthesize. Sorry, you can tell I'm really tired now. You run them through synthesize. That's what you do. And then it will validate for you what makes sense and what doesn't. Oftentimes, your ideas are not as good as ideas that you'll get through AI because you're not objective. You are subjective. And so you don't make decisions as logically as you should. You make them more emotionally. And that will cost you in this business because this is a logic business. So use the AI. What % does WAP take from us? They don't take it from you, if I could reframe that. For their service, their free service of using their system, it's about, I think, 3% transaction. Elsa B says, I am so keen on this, but I need my tech-savvy son assistants. You do not need your tech-savvy son assistant. There is not much tech involved in this. Question to you. Do you have one of these? Do you have one of these dopamines in your pocket? This is a technical aspect, but it is not overly technical. And you were able to figure it out. So if tech was an issue, then I certainly wouldn't be selling this to the masses. Not to say that there's not a learning curve, because there is. It's just a smaller learning curve than you would think. And I would not let you have the tech hold you back. And with all the coaching and the experience, or the coaching and the resources in here, you have a lot of value. Yeah, this will help you. Yeah, we'll take the offer down completely in a few days. I want to say 4 or 3, somewhere around there, but don't quote me on that exactly. Okay. Can I install on these programs on my laptop and PC when I travel? Yeah, they're all web-based. They're all web-based. Sorry, I'm just looking at some of the questions over here at the same time. They're all web-based, so anywhere you can get an internet connection, you can make this work. 100%. Yep, you're good, Harold. Yeah, if that's the only thing stopping you, then go to joiningmind.com and sign up. Yep. Yeah, so this is a common thing, and I'm not ignoring it because I don't want to answer it. I just trying to prioritize questions, but I'll address it very quickly here. A lot of people say, just let me in for free, and then when I'm successful, I'll pay you later. That is just at the scale that we manage with the people we reach. That is way too much friction for us. I wish there was a way we could accommodate that at scale, but it's impossible. We can't. You have to make the investment. We've made the investment as low as we can possibly make it to give you everything possible you need to succeed. And that's the way that it is. So if you are that sure that you are that resourceful, that you'll 100% be successful, and then you'll pay it back with interest, that same resourcefulness will allow you to find a way to make the investment today and then be successful with this program. Yep. Is all the features we get when buying monetize available when buying monetize? I'm not sure exactly what that means. But you get everything that you see when you go to joiningmind.com plus my 2 bonuses as well. And you get some extra stuff too. And you get a full year access to that. And with the until you win guarantee, you get access to resources until you 10x your investment. Yep. Beyond, if they were to expire before, they're extended to you. Yep. What's the difference between Monetize and Monetize Pro since they provide coaching? Monetize Pro has more coaching. It's just more hands-on and more in-depth coaching. So if coaching is of high priority to you, you can upgrade to Monetize Pro. Can 2 people share one subscription? No. WAP is working in France. Does it handle VAT or not? I do not know, and I lived in France. It works in France, I'm pretty sure. You can find out. Anybody can go and sign up for an account for free. I'm not sure about the VAT collection, though. But yeah, check it out. And you can Google that. That's an easy answer to Google. What's the balance between simplicity and feature richness? Are we overwhelming or underserving users? Start with sense. Yeah. So it's a fun game. You start with the minimum viable product. Once that hits, you add to it, and you continue to add to it as long as it enhances the experience and makes you more money. And then eventually you'll hit a diminishing return, and you'll say, okay, now I've added too much, and then you scale it back down a little bit. And that's the sweet spot. We don't have to figure that out. We let the audience show us. So we don't solve the problem. We let the audience solve the problem. What do the analytics say about drop-offs in the funnel? Various things for various industries at various price points for various products. You will find that a majority of people will drop off. Just take a look at this. We started day 1 with 80,000 plus people live. We're on day 4 and there's 2,400 people. It's called the law of attrition, right? Over time, attrition occurs. How many people who buy a book even read one page on it? Not 100%. People who read a page in a book read all of the book. Way less than 100%. But when you reach enough people, the law of attrition states some fall off, but some succeed. I could get biblical with you for a second. The parable of the sower, right? The sower was in the field and he had seed. And he threw the seed on the ground, and some of it landed on rocks, and it didn't take. But that didn't stop him. He threw the seed on the soil, and some of it, the soil was too shallow. And so the first hot day, the sun came and killed the seed, and it did not take. And then he threw some of the seed on the ground, and it took. But some of the seed that took only produced 10%. And some of the seed that took produced 50%. And some of the seed that took produced 100%. But he didn't leave the field, right? So if he threw the seed down and the birds took the seed, he didn't chase the birds. He kept staying in the field, and he kept planting his seeds. Some of the seeds don't take, some of the seeds take, some of them take at different degrees, right? So we optimize as best as we can based upon the analytics when we see them, but we sow our seeds. And this is what we do here. So if you sow enough seeds, some of them will bear fruit. That is the law of the universe. Yep. How do we pay in installments? You go to joiniman.com, and then when you go through the process, there will be options on how you wish to finance it, and then the installments will be there. Yep. Is it better to be an infopreneur? I mean, you're asking a barber if you need your hair cut right here. Hell yeah, it's better to be an infopreneur. And that's a fancy way of saying a person who creates and distributes digital products. All right, I'm at the end of the document. Woo! All right, I'm going to check in with you right now. Who here is ready to sign up and will sign up within the next 5 minutes? If that's you, type in 5 into the chat right now. If you know you're going to sign up in the next 5 minutes, type in 5 into the chat right now. Because I want to kind of get a gauge here. If it's nobody, then we'll wrap. Okay, cool. All right. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 5s. Oh my God, we got a whole bunch more 5s, okay? I'm going to hold you to this. When you give me your word, if you don't follow through on your word, that's not a good reinforcement. We want to positively reinforce that. So you said you're going to sign up at the...
Get it?